Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to all. How are we?
Good morning, everyone. You're great.
Welcome, welcome. It's a pleasure to see all of you all. So let's wait for 1 minute and then we'll begin.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mayuri. So good morning to all of you. Let's begin the session. Let's have a brief recap on what we did last time. Anyone would like to volunteer? Suraj, Sandeep, Rasia, Varun, Mayuri, Swapna, Anurag, Daisy, Amarjeet, Akshata, Oindrila, Padampriya, Vinita, Tamil Selvan, Monica, Joydeep, Jagannath, Ganesh. Okay, making it simpler. Can someone tell what? Yes, yes.
Yeah, we started with the icebreakers and starting up with the session. Then we
Okay,
talk
okay.
about the present facilities. We talked about all those things, and the acceptance of the presenter is much more important to me while you are connecting with the audience. Thank you.
Okay, very nice, Jagannath ji. Thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful input. Anyone else would like to add?
So we did different types of or different ways of training, like on the job, off the job, distance learning. So we categorized all of those and talked about them.
Okay.
We also talked about the role of the facilitator and how to make it more effective.
Okay.
Also about our target audience, who is our customer, and how important it is to understand their needs. Types of facilitation is what we did. And then the difference between mentoring and coaching.
Oh wow, that's great. That's great. So now I'll just throw out one open question and then we'll begin. What is the difference between a trainer and a facilitator? Imagine a trainer is taking a training session or a training module on communication skills, and a facilitator is taking a session on communication skills. What would be the basic difference?
So a trainer would
Jagannath will
come
come to
with
you.
content.
Yes, Rasia.
A trainer will come with content expertise and expertise in the field, and a facilitator will be content neutral and will be more focused on, enhancing or allowing the group wisdom to emerge.
Oh, wow. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Yes, Jagannath ji would like to go ahead. Please, please. You raised your hand. Sandeep, Ganesh.
Yes, sir.
Domain expertise.
So trainer might not involve activities in between the participants, and moreover, it can be a one-way communication explaining about the topic and then giving the knowledge to the trainees. Whereas the facilitator will try to engage the audience more and more so that they can have more of an experience as well as the theoretical combined learning together.
Wow. Wonderful, wonderful, sir. Wonderful, Sandeep. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Ganesh, would you like to add something to this?
Yeah, very similar thoughts, Dr. Suhas. It's like the difference between a project engineer and a project coordinator or manager. One does the work and one coordinates and manages things.
Okay. And Jagannath ji, you had raised your hand. Would you like to add? Okay, fine. So, absolutely fantastic. So, the roles are very different, and the roles are, sometimes a facilitator could be a good trainer, but it's not necessary that all trainers could be good facilitators. Many a times, because the facilitator would be more mature, more sober, more knowledgeable, more engaged, more empowering. He or she would believe in giving autonomy to the participants, engage each of them, so that capability building is basically the motto. whatsoever. It may be a knowledge, it may be a skill, it may be an activity, it may be an ability, it may be a behavior enhanced action whatsoever. But then a facilitator, like we would sum it up as a person who would engage the people to give in their opinions, to share their insights, to share their views, and that's how we go beyond. So now with this, I would love to share the screen. Give me a minute, please. So you're able to see the screen and hear the music.
No music, sir.
Yes, sir.
1 minute. Let me just. Sometimes these things could happen. 1 second. Now you can hear, right? Okay, so now what we do is we go into the icebreaker session. As usual, whatsoever your training is about, whatsoever your facilitation is all about, you need to have some sort of an activity which will generate some amount of interest, which will bring some amount of engagement, which will involve at least some participants to do that activity concerned. So this icebreaker is going to be based on emotions and experience sharing. It's going to be on emotions and experience sharing. So now let's go on to the instructions about the emotion and the experience sharing. I want you all to relate your name with a favorite color or an object, stationary or moving. When you say stationary, this wall near me could be stationary. This laptop on which I am addressing you could be stationary. There could be something which is moving like my mobile or the bell or maybe the pen or something like that. So you could relate your name with any sort of a color or an object which is stationary or moving. You could associate it with an emotion or experience resonating you, which decides about you or which tells you that why blue color is associated with Suhas or maybe why red is associated with someone else. That's basically how you're going to relate it with an emotion or an experience. You are permitted to be spontaneous and think out of the box. Okay, this is just to give you some ideas. Try to make it as colorful as possible so that it'll be easier for you to understand. You can have out-of-box thinking. Maybe you could pick up a bottle of water or maybe a candle or maybe a pan or a book or maybe a stopwatch or maybe a teddy bear or maybe whatever. Not necessary to pick it up. Also, you can address it even just by announcing the name. So you got exactly 30 seconds to do this. And yes, I'm going to stop sharing.
Sir, I would like to start.
Oh, sure, Sunil.
Yeah, so my name is Sunil, and I could relate myself with the sun, and people also remember my name in the metaphor like a sun. Sun means the shining star. So many of the times in my life, I could became a shining star. So I could relate with the sun, and the color which I could associate is like a sky blue color, which is my favorite color.
Okay.
And yes, and emotion is like I'm like a enthusiastic, so happiness and joy is my emotions. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful, Sunil. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Your name has also got the word sun in that. So energy, enthusiasm, and you are there in the sky. So we can relate. There's a lot of connect in between, So that's great. Absolutely wonderful. Well done. Let's all put our hands together and let's give a big round of applause. Thank you so much. Yes. Sandeep, would you like to go ahead? Yes, Sandeep.
Yes, sir. So I'll not say my name, but my name is not relating, but I am feeling an emotion which I would like to share, that there is a flower vase kept in front of my table, and then it is a transparent color with a plant inside it. So I'm able to resonate with it right now, that it is peaceful and calm, and everything is transparent here, and it is growing with a steady pace. And so the emotion is of calmness and then steady pace growth.
Wonderful, wonderful, Sandeep. You're relating it with the flower vase, with flowers, and the calmness and the freshness of the flowers and things like that. Wonderful. Well done, Sandeep. Now you have to put on an habit, friends, whether you like it or not. All of us are trainers, all of us are educators, all of us are facilitators. That's why basically we are here on this platform. We are doing this course. So you need to give a round of applause for yourself and for others. Please understand, it's important. Appreciating self and appreciating others. जब तक आप खुद के लिए नहीं करोगे, दूसरों के लिए नहीं करोगे, तब तक मजा नहीं आएगा. So please understand this habit. Wherever you see even my activities, you'll always see that clap or something like that. It is basically a process. It's part of a process. It's part of a system. It's part of a framework. We don't have a choice, because we as educators need to empower people, engage people, develop their energies, ask them to go to the next level, make them feel happy, be grateful. That's basically how it is. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, Ganesh, go ahead, please.
Yeah, okay. Color, something which is favorite for me is gray. I've tried working on the black or white, but always realize that there is something in between, and multiple shades of gray is what makes me more interested in life. That's number one. Number two, the object which is moving is the cloud. Again, relates to the gray. The gray clouds are the water-bearing clouds, that they move with a purpose to a particular location and, enrich the environment around. And the emotion is, reflection is what I always keep it for myself. Okay. So these are the three things that I can describe.
Okay, wonderful. Let's all put our hands together and let's all give a big round of applause. So yes, the color gray, yes, and the cloud, and relating it with the enthusiasm, the calmness, and the wonderful engagement. Absolutely, well done, Ganesh. So Rasia, you can go in next. There's no specific order. We can all go in. Yes, Rasia.
Yeah. This is the object that
wow,
I
that's
have.
Nice.
So yellow is my favorite color, and I happen to find this on my desk itself. I just feel that it takes me back to sunflowers and how sunflowers move towards the sun, kind of try and shine and direct themselves towards bright light and towards happiness. So that's what it is.
Okay, thank you. Wonderful, Rasia, for showing us that resonating it with the color yellow, brightness, associating it with the sun. Absolutely fantastic. Maza aa gaya. Yes, Jagannath, you raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I would like to relate myself with the pen, writing pen. This will help me to write and vent out my emotions out of my brain, including my pains, if any, and that will make me feel comfortable. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful, Jagannath, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Well done, because you're resonating yourself with a pen, which you can write maybe memories, maybe reflections, maybe thoughts, ideas, poetry. It could be anything, So that's so wonderful of you. We can have one more last. Yes, Suraj, would you like to join and tell us something? Pallavi, Padampriya, Vinita, Tamil Selvan, Anurag. Only one
Yes,
more.
sure.
Okay, we have got Chandru here. Chandru, you can go ahead, and then we'll have Varun.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chandru. Yes.
Yes, so I would like to share my emotions, basically more of anxiety and excitement.
Okay.
And right now in front of me, I have a music system.
Oh, wow.
So basically what it resonates is, because I am a music lover. So for every mood, you have a different music. For every emotion, you have a different music. For every situation, you have a different music.
Wow.
So music in your ears is like melody, So everything that you do, it kind of resonates in my thing is it's all basically different emotions goes with different music and different times, And for me, the moving object is bicycle, because I ride bicycle. So every time I have I listen to music and I ride my bicycle. So that's me.
Wow. Wonderful. So Chandru has related to music, different notes and different rhythm and different music at different times and different scenarios. Absolutely. And he loves riding the bicycle. So there is motion and there is music together. Then that's something too grand, Yes, wonderful. Absolutely well done. Yes, Varun, would you like to add?
Sir, may I, sir?
Sir, sorry to interrupt.
Padmapriya, yes, sure,
Sorry
sure.
to interrupt, sir. I forgot to add with the color. I
Okay.
resonate. My favorite color is blue.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Blue color, wonderful. Yes, Padmapriya, you can go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. My name is Bhatma Priya. It means lotus.
Oh, wow.
So, like flower, I'm soft in nature. I want everyone, those who are around me, to feel happiness and pleasure.
Wow, so nice, so nice. You're reciting it with your name, and it's a lotus, and it's something nice, and I mean accommodating. It gives a lot of tranquil. So that's great, wonderful, wonderful, Padmapriya. So congratulations to all of you. Yes,
Thank you, sir.
well done, well done. So we will go back to sharing of the screen so that things are easy and we continue. So please understand, each of you is amazing. The feature is you are your own cheerleader. Each facilitator, each trainer, each educator, each of you is special, is amazing. Till the time you got it in your system that you're amazing, you will not be able to make others amazing. So that's basically the feeling. Popping up on my screen, it makes you feel happy, it makes you feel engaged, it makes you people who have observed, people who have participated, people who have seen, people who have recorded, whatsoever. That's an amazing thing, So 500 points, great. Now the session agenda, which we're going to cover, is facilitation techniques, common training methods, the training need identification and analysis, goals and learning objectives, new knowledge, new skills, new attributes, planning of the training content, considering the audience, learner characteristics, method of contextualization, and the presentation style. So this would be certain areas. This is all corresponding to your syllabus, to the framework which has been shared by the ISTD with you on a soft copy, plus the books which you have got. So many of these things would relate to this. The content has been slightly curated to make it more interesting, more engaging, and to reduce the overall content. The four cornerstones are the four most important pillars of facilitation. Is one, know yourself. Knowing yourself is something great, something special that would relate to your style, your skills, your strengths. I mean, when you are aware, when you're doing a self-assessment, you'll be able to understand styles, skills, and strengths. So you'll be improving at each level. Maybe a skill, maybe a strength, maybe a style, maybe a presentation. So knowing and developing yourself is a continuous process. Learning is a lifelong process. Life itself is a learning process. Two is know your material, the content, the research, the resources. Please understand, friends, material is something what you are actually designing, what you're conceptualizing, what you're sharing with the audience. So a lot of change is required to make it more vibrant, to make it more useful, to make it more resourceful, to make it more applicable, to make it more functional. So sometimes it will be a few words, maybe a few animations, maybe a few pictures, maybe illustrations, maybe doodles, maybe cartoons freak out. That's what COVID taught us. That's what COVID taught me. That's what you all learned. So now it's going to be less of words, more of content with different styles, different colors to make it as attractive as possible. Simple, nice, crisp, attractive. Know your purpose. Why the training? Why the facilitation? Yes, you may be able to get money out of it. Yes, it may be a profession. Yes, you may be into that job role. But what is the basic purpose? Is it enhancing or building up of the skills of the audience? Is it providing of information? Is it a change in the attitude which you're looking for? So that's a very important area again for knowing your audience. Very important. The demographics, age, background, the job roles which they're in, what sort of outcomes. Please understand, all trainings, all facilitations need to have specific objectives and relate to specific outcomes. So demographics, affiliations. Anyone knows what's an affiliation? Anyone could share?
The kind of association.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. It's some sort of an association. Maybe you're associated with HR groups, maybe you're associated with the marketing, maybe you're associated with finance, maybe you're a faculty in a college, maybe you're a freelance trainer, whatsoever. If you're able to get some amount of affiliation, the same content could also change. Jaisa desh, vaisa besh. When in Rome, do what Romans do. When in Germany, do what Germans do. The same language won't apply even though the module is same. So affiliations are very important. What sort of knowledge levels? Knowledge of the audience to accept, to reciprocate, to provide response, to be part of the engagement exercise. What is the level of perception? Very important. What is it being perceived? When you get a training assignment or a facilitation assignment, perceptions are very important. It's not just the money. What you perceive from the audience, what you perceive from that company which is going to pay you, what you perceive, maybe you'll be getting some sort of an idea about who the audience is, what their requirements are, how do they perceive, what is the purpose of being trained on. So if you're able to get these 4 cornerstones, your facilitation exercise becomes easier. So desirable competencies for facilitation is understanding and managing of learner problems. Learners, students, participants may have problems. It could be any problems related to work, related to activity, related to task, related to maybe enhancing their skill, or maybe in correcting themselves, or maybe even making their performance better. So as a trainer, as a facilitator, you need to understand, you need to be in sync. That's your basic purpose, to develop them so that they can encounter the problem and they can go beyond. A positive, Ganesh, I'll come to you. A positive relationship with the learners. You need to have a very neutral relationship, happy, pleasant, easygoing, approachable, helpful, guiding. You are the foundation of hope as far as the learners are concerned. So a positive blend, a good cohesion, a good bonding needs to be there with each of the persons whom you're going to train or you're going to facilitate. So it's going to be 20 people, it could be 100 people, whatsoever, depending upon whatever the engagement is. A rapport or a bonding is very important. Accelerate for people and professional development. My goal as a facilitator, your goal as a trainer or facilitator is to develop them to a level where they become better. Your exercise, your modules, your sessions need to be so powerful, need to be so useful, need to be so creative that you're able to bring in professional development, what is expected by the company, and of course, relate with their personal development also. Communication has to be effective. Flawless communication. It doesn't mean focusing only on grammar. Understandability. Understanding what I'm able to show on the screen, ask for queries, maybe answer questions, maybe solve doubts. It could be anything. Having a professional appearance and poise at all possible time. Being a Sunday, I'm geared as if I'm ready to go to work. So professional appearance is the need of the hour. If I am presentable, I can expect my trainees or learners also to be presentable, because that's the first start. Setting up the first impression is very important. Maybe a blazer, maybe a Nehru coat, maybe a tie, maybe a waistcoat, maybe a kurta, all depending upon whatever is required as the requirement goes. Formal, semi-formal, informal, semi-casuals, it could be whatever, depending upon what the crowd expects from you or what the organization or what the company wants you to be in. So that professional appearance and poise makes all the difference. Motivating learners to achieve the desired performance. Constant motivation. Yes, Ganesh. Yes, Hariom. Yes, Daisy. Yes, Akshata. Yes, Pallavi. Yes, Tamil Selvan. Yes, Anurag. Yes, Ganesh. Yes, Radhika. Yes, Joydeep. These are the names. You are going to use the names again and again, or else in between, even though you're not able to see whether it is hybrid, whether it is in person, well, whatsoever. Continuous engagement, using of names, being personalized, not personal, but personalized is very important. Yes, Ganesh, we can have your question now.
Yeah, just a quick one, Doctor. It's on the expectation which came repeatedly. So for a successful facilitator, it's important to manage two types of expectation. One is the explicit one, which is told, okay, this is what is expected out of you. But there is something called seeing beyond the obvious, which is the implicit expectations. For
Yes.
one to be more successful, I think that is a skill one has to develop.
Yes. Because please understand, I mean, all of you all should understand one thing. Facilitator is a much bigger, much broader role as compared to a trainer. So the amount of experience, the amount of expertise, the amount of people management, the amount of enabling people to give in responses, to share, understanding them, empathizing with them, being very equitable with them, that's basically required. So like what Ganesh rightly said, you are going to be the master navigator of the program as a facilitator. You are the master, you are the commander. So you need to understand, give regard, give due respect, understand implicit and explicit. Very well said, Ganesh. Absolutely a wonderful takeaway for all of us. You need to understand people. Please understand, friends, that the moment when you're interacting with the people, when you see them across, you're able to understand the different emotions, the different perceptions, the different thoughts, or the different, sometimes some of them will be defensive, some of them are prepared to raise objections, some of them might be difficult participants. It could be anything. It could be a mix of all of these people. So how to control, how to accept the challenge, how to be proactive, and how to still keep engaged, that's the need of the hour. Well done, Ganesh. Thank you so much for this wonderful input.
Thank you, sir.
Common facilitation techniques. Now these are certain things which you'll find as a repetition everywhere. So I've not exactly focused too much on this, because this is required just for the understanding purpose. Lecture is basically when you're told to lecture. It may be a monologue, it may be to a certain extent with certain activities, maybe some amount of interaction, some amount of reactions, where learners or participants are required to listen, learn, and maybe take down notes. When you say notes, it helps, because friends, what happens is the content which is shown by a trainer or a facilitator or an educator or a teacher need not be 100% copy paste or even part of the copy paste from your resource material or from your book or something like that. Definitely there would be a lot of diagrams, a lot of illustrations, a lot of things, maybe a flow chart. It could be anything which has been picked up through different sources. Maybe due citations have been done, maybe certain slogans or taglines have been added. So you need to add that to make your engagement more useful. A modified lecture would have in-class activities, maybe some amount of activities like maybe scenario-based activities, maybe a case study-based activity, maybe a role play. This could all be relating to a modification of a lecture, where you could divide part of your lecture for involving the students or the participants. It could be even reading, writing, talking, listening, and reflecting. So now even in the a question of a scenario or a role play, that specific passage or that specific text or that specific script could be read by different people. Maybe different scripts could be given. So based on that, presentations could be done with the individual groups or the individual clusters. So that would relate to reflection, thinking, and so many things. Forums is basically where you have learners and educators participating in written discussions. Thanks to COVID, and of course, there have been people who have been in this part of forums. Forums have been taking up a lot of space and a lot of traction. When you talk about space, I don't mean the space occupying in terms of the capacity or the property as such. Space in the sense your engagement on the LMS, on the e-learning platforms, on the online platforms. You have got different forums where you could pose a question. Your peer groups, other people, experts, teachers, educators, maybe the leaders could put in their comments. So you would have a lot of triggering of deeper thinking into that specific problem and debriefing. And friends, it all depends upon what your forum is consisting of. Is it consisting of your local group, a restricted group, or is it random? Is it broader? Is it global? So it'll all get I mean, a lot of activity would happen, a lot of ideas, a lot of comments, a lot of positive exchange of thoughts, and you become much better than what you were earlier. Debates, another important area would be improving of the
tablet photo
Yes, debate would be improving of the speaking skills and providing of experience in developing a convincing argument, an argument which has got a perspective, an insight to develop something constructive happening through a debate. So learners to realize that the argument, like two sides of the coin, would always have two sides. Maybe the positive, maybe the negative, maybe one opinion, maybe the other goes with another opinion, whatsoever. But as far as possible, it should be non-controversial and non-conflicting. With the understanding, trainers and facilitators go with one purpose. It has to relate with what is being displayed, or what is the focus, or what is the agenda for the facilitation or the training module. I mean, it's not necessary at all to deviate or divert from what is being considered. Group discussion, a very healthy way to gauge whether the candidates could have personality traits. Now, please, friends, when you understand all these things, Rajni, could you mute yourself, please? Thanks. So what happens is you could have group discussions. Please understand that all these processes, all these methods, all these tools are not just relevant to virtual only. They are relevant to in-person activities or physical activities or hybrid activities or virtual. It could be a combination. Group discussions would help gauging personality traits like your interpersonal communication skills, maybe the confidence, maybe the team building, maybe leadership abilities, maybe the social behavior and problem solving skills, because the agenda is there, what's going to be covered, how it needs to be addressed, the timelines, time frames, outcomes, everything is available. The buzz group, this is an interesting thing. You could make a small group of 3 to 6 learners and share the topic, and they are allowed to freak out on that. So these people, this 2 or 3 or 6 people would get together, collaborate, understand, pose problems, find out solutions, give answers, give suggestions. So they would get responses to their ideas from each other, and that could be recorded on maybe a flip chart in the form of maybe a map, or maybe something like that. You could use different diagrams, different posters, different stickers, different stick me ups, and make it all the more interesting. Common facilitation techniques used would include brainstorming. I found this to be the best area. Brainstorming is where you have all people, different backgrounds, different job roles, maybe put into a room and given a specific time frame. So they are told to solve a specific design related problem. 2 vital considerations: in controlled conditions and a free thinking environment. It's very important that 2 considerations would be there. The controlled condition would be where the group is told to focus only on the specific question or the problem which is there. Yes, Chandru, I'll come to you. And a free thinking environment. Give them the autonomy. Don't make it personal. We don't want names over here. We want everyone to contribute. So no specific requirement to align with names of any persons for that matter. It could go in the form of a submission. 20 people giving in 20 submissions or even 15 submissions. We need not know who has told what. What is being told is more important than who has told it. Teams approach a problem by how might we, the moment you add, how might we address this? How might we solve this? How might we find out a solution to this? That would give a vast array of ideas, bring in potential linkages, and of course, develop solutions or answers to solve the problems. Yes, Chandru, I can take a question. Please go ahead, Chandru.
So it's not a question, just a comment.
Basically, sure.
Based on this brainstorming, I believe your sessions, when you start with the ice breaking activity, is sort of a brainstorming.
Yes. If everyone is going to be part of that activity, definitely it would have been more holistic and more broader. But yes, it allows people to think on something, relate with something, speak about something, reflect on something. So that's, yes, it could be a good activity for a brainstorming. As far as the agenda is very specific, like in the icebreaker, it is always people put in the responses and there's something nice coming out. It's wonderful. Thank you, Chandru. Well done. So now we have got something which is very interesting: films, videos, and tapes. You need to be careful, friends. There are two categories of films, videos, and tapes. Anyone knows what are those two types? I'm not being very technically specific. I'm just talking in generic terms, actually. There are two types of films, videos, and tapes, two broad categories. Okay, friends, I'll tell you what it is. Then we'll go on to what pointers are there. All films, videos, and tapes could be either customized or tailor fit. Number one. Number two, it could be generic and picked up from somewhere. So when you say customized, tailor fit, custom fit, that means that organization will spend money to develop a video, possibly with their own team, possibly with their own environment, possibly with their own expertise, and relate directly to the activities and tasks happening in that organization or department or section. Like, for example, Reliance Jewels, or maybe the Zio, or maybe Tata Steel. I'm just giving you random examples. If they are going to do videos specifying about their practices with their people in their plant or in their retail location or whatsoever, that would be a tailor fit requirement which matches. You're not supposed to, as a trainer, Jagannath, I'll come to you. You're not supposed to share it or show it or display it unless and until you have permission for doing the same to any other organization or any other audience for that matter. It is restricted, it may be time bound, it may be enabled for a specific purpose. We need to follow. And second is generic, where, like I've been showing you, and of course we'll continue to show, there are certain relatable video clips which you pick up from YouTube or from other sources, maybe through Google. So that link could add on. So that is much easier because it's cheaper and it gives a broader spectrum of understanding the topic. Like, for example, I'm training a group of people who are into the Titan watches. If I'm going to show them something about Johnson & Johnson, or if I'm going to show them something about Vistara Airline, things will be very different. Yes, Biswadeep, I'll come to you. So that's basically how it is. What I do is I work on both. If the client says, we want you to show our video with your inputs, I go into that mode. If they say, no, you can use your videos, I would love to pick it up from Vimeo or maybe even WhatsApp at times, or maybe even YouTube or wherever I'm able to download it easily. Minimum sized clips. It could be maybe a few minutes, maybe a few seconds to few minutes, and which actually adds on value. So depending upon the requirement, you need to do that. You need to be very careful about screening tailor fit or private videos. You're not allowed to do that. Otherwise, there could be legal complications. Yes, Jagannath, you can go ahead. Then Biswadeep, you could go ahead. Yes. Yes, Biswadeep, you can go ahead. You raised your hand.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
Sir, sir, you said that the video can be taken from the generic sources. So can you give some examples and more light on that, sir?
Generic. The one which I showed you last, time, and the one which I'm going to show you now. Immediately after this, there is going to be a video which is shown to you.
Sorry, sir.
No, you're not clear on that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Biswadeep, what I meant to say is generic in the sense it need not be domain specific or function specific or company specific. For example, if I'm going to show you something on training, it need not be of a specific company. It could be any sort of a training video, maybe prepared by an institute, maybe prepared by a company, maybe which is available in the open source, maybe which is available on YouTube. So you could use a mix and match of those videos as far as the perspectives are shared, perspectives are clear. So that's what immediately, possibly after this slide, you have got a video coming in. So that's what would be of a generic type, not customized only for ISTD, or not customized for Titan or Tata or Reliance or Birlas or something like that. It can be shown with a specific representation.
Okay,
That's
sir.
fine with you,
Got it.
Biswadeep? Okay.
Another part is this.
Yes, Jagannath,
Somehow,
you could go ahead.
when I was taking the training on some other meetings and all from the for some organizations, some videos is taking from the you have said, sir, taking from some other sources, maybe video, movies or like this, or something is
Yes.
actually this new that is not available in the YouTube or like this.
Okay.
Or sir, I want to ask, sir, is there any sources is there where I can get the videos as per my necessity or the that aligned to that particular training and
Biswadeep, most of the videos are actually available. They may not be exactly custom fit, but sometimes if you want it very specific or something like that, then you could actually hire out a studio or something like that. You know, there are people who do this job for you. Now things are much easier and not all that expensive, because COVID has taught us a lot of techniques on, you know, how to take videos, how to edit videos, how to add certain slides and, you know, words and things like that. Some music clips and things like that. It can be done, or else you can have a proper studio effect and do it very customized by telling the company to go into it, to bear the expenses, because
okay,
it's not
sir.
going to be cheap.
Okay. Now sometimes animations also is there represent actually animations.
Yes. It will all depend upon the software which you are using. There are certain softwares which are very nominal. Maybe you could show some cartoon clips or maybe some doodles or something like that, as far as the perspective is clear. And it's something nice, something funny, something engaging, something useful. So that's great, and that you can do. Yes, Jagannath, you wanted to ask something, Jagannath?
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask about the brainstorming, which was in the earlier slide. Actually, I raised a hand at that time. Especially in brainstorming, what I find practically is when the group is heterogeneous, consisting of different designations, then it becomes difficult for me as a facilitator to gain the ideas from the lower designations. Means the people with higher designations in the group, they may hinder the ideas from the lower designations. How to tackle this? Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. So Jagannath, what I feel is when you're talking about brainstorming, if it is going to be some core area or something which is very important, where you're having a mix of people, then I
Yes.
think you'll have to actually put it into different buckets and classify it accordingly, you know, depending upon the expertise, depending upon the job role, depending upon the number of years of experience, and decide how to view it into a fabric and moderate it. Normally,
I want to.
what people would do is, what organizations have been doing is they would brainstorm to a specific level of employees, and those level of employees would be in similar job roles or on the same level, not age-wise, but role-wise, and they would give in their
Yeah.
inputs. So that would depend on how it can be done more with a lot of clarity.
No, sir, I would like to share one thing. Being all the stakeholders, they will have something for the organization as to where their organization they want to be there, and so they have the different
Sure.
ideas with different designations. So how to tackle this? I'm finding this problem. Thank you.
That's fine. So, in fact, if it's a mixed heterogeneous group, then you'll have to take certain valid points and relate it with the organizational culture or whatever the mandate is for that brainstorming session. Is it for product
Okay.
development? Is it for quality control? Is it for some sort of maybe addressing of a specific type of customer complaint, or maybe some sort of a lag in the production system? Depending on that, you'll have to curate the responses which are received, bring it for a proper deliberation, and then go beyond.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Rasya, go ahead, please.
I just wanted to add to what Jagannath ji asked. I think it's
Sure.
also, as a facilitator, it's important to create a safe space, set an expectation that please allow everyone's voices to be heard within your group. So
Yes.
that sets gives a lot of responsibility to the people who are at a higher designation to ensure that the junior people are heard as well.
Yes, true. Very nice, very nice. I mean, a very wonderful point, Rasya. In fact, as a facilitator, like we have been repeating it right from the earlier session to now, we need to make everyone contribute. We need everyone to respond. So however big or small or relevant or irrelevant or related or unrelated things are there, it is as a facilitator, the experience, the sharing, the deliberations to moderate without hurting someone, giving due regard to everyone concerned, because that's what the facilitation exercise is all about. You may have certain challenges, like Jagannath ji rightly said, there could be challenges at times when different levels are there together, so they don't agree with someone and these people don't agree with that. We'll have to work out something in between, because the purpose of the facilitation module or the facilitation session will gather momentum if only, like Rasia rightly said, there is proper enablement and empowerment of all levels together. This is a beautiful video.
So I was going to this concert. It was awesome. We got there like really late, and so the show had already started.
What concert was it?
Well, you would know they are. It's just like a little indie underground thing you can get.
Really?
Yeah, party bus, party
Really?
van,
All
party
right,
van.
sounds
You
like
know,
fun.
no, it's.
Excuse me. I have a couple of questions about the Wi-Fi.
So, how many keys would you like?
2, please.
Hey dude, what's up? Did you get the tickets? Oh wait, my battery's running low. Quick, call me at the main number. Is that you? Very cool. So what's the plan? All right, Miss Jordan, here are your keys. And your room is so easy to find. It's just right around the corner, room number 103. Have a nice day. See ya.
Hi, I lost my room key, room 213.
Okay. Just in case you lose this one, would you like another one?
Actually, I have the adjoining room as well, 214.
Oh,
Can I get that one?
Of course.
Hey, cool. Thank you.
All right, 214.
Hey,
thanks, man.
Thank you, man. Have a good
one.
day. Yeah.
Hey, man. Have a nice vacation.
Hey, thanks. 213.
213.
Great room.
I have a couple questions about the Wi-Fi.
Hey dude, what's up? Do you get the tickets? Here's one you want. Quick, call me the main number. Is that you? Very cool. So what's the plan? Alright, Miss Jordan, here are your keys. And your room is so easy to find. It's just right around the corner, room number 103. Have a nice day. See ya. Hey man, have a nice vacation. Hey thanks, 213. 213.
So friends, how was it? Beautiful? You all enjoyed the video?
Yes, sir. Very interesting.
These are some of these
Yes,
videos
sir.
which are actually educative. Yes.
Amazing video, sir.
These are the videos which we should use, you know. It could be used for multiple things like professional
Was it realistic, sir?
development, personality development, and communication skills. Yes, yes. You'll be able to get all of this in YouTube. Most of my videos which I show are pulled up from YouTube. Fine. So there is something like tutorials. Now, this is something where you can assign a reading and maybe relate with some other preparation. It could contribute to a group discussion, demonstrate an understanding. It'll relate to some sort of asking of questions, listening actively, and working collaboratively with other learners. Now, tutorial is something very small, actually, where the focus is more independent, more individual. You're able to attend to each of the trainees or the participants. So that's basically how you can use. These are all multiple things. Please do not feel that all have to be used. As and when required, as per situation, as per requirement, you can use one or multiple of them in combinations. Self-discovery. Self-discovery is another technique where you can have a lot of self-exploration and help the learners, something like a SWOT analysis, or maybe you got self-assessment inventories. You could have these tools being shared, explained, and shared. It would help to the trainees or the learners to visualize their ideal self, where they have gone wrong, where they can improvise, where remedial action is required, where going to the next level requires some changes in behavior, controlling of emotions, controlling of temperament, exploring your passion, trying out something new, evaluating your skills. So you could have multiple exercises for assessing of life goals, personality, quotient, relationships, etc. Role plays are something fantastic. I mean, this is something which gives a lot of variety and a lot of scope to understand. It's always recommended that role plays would have another element which when the other element is added to this role play, it becomes more valid, more useful, more acceptable, more adaptable. Friends, would you like to tell what that element is to make role plays more effective? What is that element?
Realistic situations, perhaps, that they can
Okay, Rasia,
apply the learnings of.
Okay, Rasia, wow. What else? Yes, come on, friends. Reversal, role reversal would give you a different fit, actually, getting into a different role. Like, for example, you're my manager and I am a sales executive. So first is you do as a sales manager and I do as a sales executive. Then we reverse roles where I become a sales manager and you become a sales executive. So you're able to find out a lot of objections, a lot of areas where you can improvise, deliberate, discuss, work out, share, have a dialogue, and the role play becomes more easier for the facilitator to navigate and create a debrief or a moderation. That would be helpful for both the parties concerned. So role reversals are highly appreciated. For senior people, it may not be that all the more important but for a junior role, it would definitely be useful because we have something which is a talent pipeline happening. So that sales executive could be marked for a promotion, maybe because of some extraordinary potential, maybe the way how he or she evolves to answer or respond. By the way the dialogue is going, you're able to address, answer, and find out the performance levels. Demonstration. This is something beautiful. Demonstrations are the need of the hour. Whether it is showing people how to fold napkins. I mean, I'm trying to use my area of expertise. When I show a table napkin being folded, or mixing of drinks to make an interesting concoction, which is known as a cocktail, or maybe how to put a tablecloth, or maybe how to use this software, or maybe how to use the Excel, or maybe how to use different things. A demonstration, instruction, repeated instruction, and demonstration falling into a plan of action by people concerned. Now, demonstrations are more or less related to the training domain, but even in facilitation, you could have certain demonstrations. It could be maybe answering of queries, handling of customer complaints, how you need to do it better, what to avoid, what not to avoid. Multiple things could be done even by facilitators when you talk about demonstration. It helps you to do a thorough observation, which is necessary for an investigation, leading to deeper understanding, reflective thinking. You think about what you've been doing in the past and make it better now, creating interest among learners, because people are always happy when something relative is given to them, when they're able to experiment or they're able to do something on their own. Imagine all of you are doing that act. It could be right, it could be wrong, whatsoever. That would help. So that creates interest among the learners and arouses the spirit of discovery. Maybe something different, something new could happen. Exhibits. These, it could be mugs, it could be posters, it could be index cards, it could be maybe a visual display, it could be anything which you could use. Maybe some sort of an interest when you show the exhibit, some sort of a poster, some sort of an object, some sort of a device which will help people to think critically, solve challenging problems, maybe develop communication skills relating to oral communication, teamwork, planning, self-sufficiency, goal setting. Now, these are all things which are very useful. As trainers and facilitators, we use these multiple things. We could use some sort of posters. We could use different types of printed cards. You know, they are called as index cards, or they are maybe in the shape and the size of a postcard or slightly bigger ones with an image. So you may have 20, 30 different images. So that could give a different representation to the people to think in a different manner and address what that exhibit is all about, or what comes into your mind as a respondent or as a participant. Very important is for whether it is facilitation, whether it is training, you need to identify the training need. Maybe a survey, maybe an observation, maybe sharing of a questionnaire, maybe discussion with the team concerned, maybe the team leads concerned. So that would involve in establishing the need for this training or the need for this facilitation in terms of the skills, the knowledge, and the ability in effective performance. So when you do this training need, you're able to find, locate a gap. Gap is the difference in between what the actual is and what the standard is. If there's a gap which needs to be done, a trainer and a facilitator could plug in that gap and take that employee to perform better. Maybe in terms of specific skills, maybe competencies, maybe the knowledge, or even the ability or the attitude. Training needs to be related to both in terms of organizational demands and of every individual employee or participant for that matter. Levels. 3 broad levels are there where we can use organizational level, because every organization will need to be focused, because it's in the interest of the organization for developing employees, developing supervisors, developing leaders, developing managers, developing different levels of people. So organization has got certain interests, certain purpose, certain credo, certain mission, certain vision for which we'll need to do the training. That's why they're going to spend in so much of money, provide you so many hours, and people away from the work many a times to attend the training. Training need identification would be at the operational level, where you find out whether it is knowledge, skills, abilities, attitude to complete the task, to become better. Training need identification could be at the individual level, my level, your level, and their level. So that would determine why the training is required for me, why the development is required for me, why that remedial training is required for me, or for what task, so that I become better. Steps which are done by the facilitator for doing the TNA is identify the competency. There is a difference between the word skill and the word competency. Anyone can explain what is a skill and what is a competency?
Sir, skill means expertise in one particular thing, and competency is the combination of skills, knowledge, attitude.
Okay, that's very nice. That's very nice. Wonderful, wonderful. So skills are something very specific, maybe knowledge based, maybe task based, maybe activity based, maybe performance based. But the moment you associate the word attitude, like she rightly said, it's something like behavior. So to become better, you need to enjoy doing that work, to perfect that skill, to improve on that skill, or to develop on that skill. I need to give my 100%. Only in that case can I be proficient or competent enough. So as a facilitator, we could confirm upon the expected performance requirements with the role specification. That's the KRAs for that matter, the key result areas or the key performance indicators. This needs to percolate right from the job description or to industry set benchmarks, maybe the speed, maybe the delivery, maybe the benefits, maybe whatsoever. The indicators need to be very, very clear, because as a facilitator, I do not have the scope to deviate. I will need to keep the focus grounded to that set of competencies or benchmarks or descriptions or indicators which need to be followed. Step 2, identifying of the competencies held for specific job roles. As a facilitator, we need to do individual learner assessment. Like we do a lot of competency matrix assessments, competency analysis. So you're able to assess them, ask their line managers, ask their supervisors, check up on customer complaint. This could be one area, or maybe relating to any sort of an organizational policy or a procedure. Step 3 would be comparing the competencies in a skill matrix. So you need to create a skill matrix mapping what qualifications, what experience, how you identify that job role, and how you're going to plug in that gap. So the gap is what? It's basically the difference in between the desired performance, which is at a specific level, and the current performance, what's actually happening. Step 4, analyze the gap and determine the best way to bridge the gap. Because if the gap is not bridged, performance will not improve. Training would relate to outlining of the training requirements with the details and in a format for developing the training program. Non-training would be if for the gap, internal issues of the organization, less time for performing tasks. This will have to be dealt separately. Competencies measured generally would be effective communication, verbal ability, active listening, effective presentation, negotiation. So the language, the delivery, the understandability, the response, the presentation, the purpose, all those things will be the competencies which could be measured. Now this I found something which is very beautiful, which gives you the explanations. What is the difference between a skill and a competency? Coding could be a skill. Handling of account, working on Tally, working on Excel could be a specific skill. Writing out a tender in a specific format could be a specific skill. Now, when you talk about competency, it would be the knowledge and the behavior which will make you go to that proficiency level or make you successful. Solving problem related to your work. Planning, using strategies, negotiating to come to something which is acceptable. So I found this nice and relevant. You'll be getting this when I'm sharing the content today. This is what a skill matrix looks like. So you got people and you got skills. Let us not try to mix up the skills. There could be, we could identify people, member A, member B, member C, member D. So they are names of people or specific people, and skills could be anything related to that job role. So depending upon that, there is a legend which says 4 is high competence, 3 is some competence, 2 is low competence, and 4 is no competence. So the moment you do your assessment, there are software, there are techniques, there are ways on how you can judge how skilled that person is. You will be able to find here also, when you talk about the displayed colors, you find that team member A is actually having the maximum amount of skill. The matrix is very favorable for him or her because he or she tends to be a perfectionist or near perfectionist on skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, skill 4, skill 5, skill 6, skill 7. And then we have the other people mapped accordingly. So here we have used color so that you're able to understand how to differentiate. Different tests must have happened, different tools must have administered, different software may have been aligned with your work to find out this specific combinations of or your function or your operations or your familiarity with the skills or your competence of doing the task better. Section 2 of your course curriculum or your resource says facilitator goals. New knowledge is where you need to do something. Describing facts, concepts, principles, standard operating procedures. New skills would be describing of the skills. It could be physical, it could be mental, whatsoever. It needs to be addressed, it needs to be improvised. New attributes. Describing the standards of behavior, the values required, the beliefs. The training context would relate to the type of training, the audience to be addressed, the aids or the material which is going to be used, the facilities and the infrastructure. A facilitator and the audience. Very important. Your role with your learners, what it includes. I mean, I've just put it in a nutshell. In your resource material, you'll find it in detail. Who is going to do it? Who is going to attend it? Why it has to be done? What has to be done? How it has to be done? Where it has to be done? And when? So when you are able to answer all the 6 questions, you are able to get a complete perspective for the training session or that session. It may be a series of sessions, it may be just one session, it may be a half-day session, it may be a full-day session, it may be 4 sessions aligned on 4 Thursday, second half, first half, 2 hours, 1.5 hours, whatsoever. This would again relate to the skills which the facilitator has got, that's you and me. What skills to address? Culture, the comprehension, that's the understandability. The support required, technical support, back-end support, what support is required? The demographics, level of motivation, level of flexibility. Can I adjust? The delivery and of course the timeline or the timing within that 1.5 hours, within that 2 hours, within that 3 hours, within that full day divided into 3 halves, maybe 2 bio breaks, maybe a lunch break, maybe spread out after lunch, post lunch, pre-lunch on different days of the same month or different months. Will decide upon what content and how it is to be done. Identifying of learners, me. Yes. How will you identify your learners? Different types of learners, the language they speak, the culture, the educational background, the gender. I'm not being discriminatory, but it helps me to develop my content depending upon whom I'm going to address. Physical abilities, the knowledge, skills, and attitude or abilities, the experience level, and of course the DEIB, the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, differently abled people. So you got to do different things so that it mixes and matches with the requirement. The contextualization of programs would relate to what tools can I use, what standard operating procedures can I follow, what is the philosophy, what are the assessments, formative, summative, integrated, continuous, MCQs, questions, answers, thematic appreciation test. What is it going to be? Activities, language, the sequence, all those things are going to help me do my facilitation or training session better. Presentation style, the delivery plan, the complete delivery plan, we need to have numbers, names of learners, the venue, the objectives, the notes which are required. Notes is specifying some extra requirements. what activities I'm going to cover, what is the duration, what is the assessment pattern, what is the mode of delivery, is it physical, is it in person, is it hybrid, is it virtual, what sort of resources. And of course, a lot of respect goes to the employee health and safety. Occupational health standards will not be compromised at any point of time on any training for that matter. So choosing of training methods would help. Again, I've capsulated so it becomes easier for you to understand the purpose, why and the what, why it needs to be done and what needs to be done. The benchmarks is setting the competency standards, whether it is listening, whether it is working on Excel, whether it is, any sort of an activity. We need to have a specific benchmark, a standard to be set, maybe pictures, maybe guidelines, maybe things which would conform to the benchmark. The scope, the specific learning outcomes for this session, it may be very different for the whole program. The whole program may be divided into different sessions. Session 1 today, session 2 next Sunday, session 3 next Sunday. So objectives and outcomes could vary, even though all the 4 sessions may become one training program. Modules are different, maybe partners are different, maybe enablers are different, maybe trainers are different, but the audience could be the same. Outcomes, knowledge, skills, abilities, the target group, who is very important. If I can do something to add value and benefit, 100% am I achieving the results. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult. The learning environment, where, how, is it in the hotel? Is it in your training facility, in the organization? Is it at a resort? Is it backed by some sort of adventure, some sort of creativity, some sort of activities? Operational requirements would be services, resources, support, material, technology, access to other sources of information, where the job descriptions, the performance appraisal, extracts from the performance appraisal would help you to find the gap. Surveys, random, specific, close-ended questions, maybe open-ended questions would give you a lot of details about the audience. Now we're going to have a breakout room activity. So we have got almost 44 of us. So I can divide you all into 5 groups. I want you all to take a pick of this break room activity. The first group would be doing, what do you understand by training methods? The second group would be, who are your clients or who are your customers? How could you identify your client needs? The third is, how can you determine your goals and objectives? 4, how can you determine the characteristics of your learner cohort? Cohort is nothing but a program, a boot camp, a workshop, whatsoever. How can you contextualize your learning programs? So when you, all of you have taken a screenshot or a pic of this. Can I start creating the rooms?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
We need to discuss the topic in our room.
Discuss and at random you just share the share what you discussed, relating to the question asked.
Okay.
Question 1 is room 1, question 2 is room 2, question 3 is room 3, question 4 is room 4, question 5 is room 5.
Sir, no audio, not audible.
Uh, Sir, I request you to please send me in the group 4. Sir, are you there? Suhas sir?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. Is it Sunil?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay,
Please
one
send
second.
me in the
Four,
group
I'm
4.
giving you 4. I'm giving you 4.
Yes, yes.
Done,
Thank you,
done,
sir.
done, done. So it was fun, isn't it? It was fun.
Yeah.
It was,
Yes,
but
sir,
less
yes, sir.
time.
That's okay. That's okay because
Fun is normally limited.
time will be limited. It got to be nice and crisp. Okay, so group one actually had Biswadeep, Daisy, Ganeshram, Nirja, Surojit. So someone could say a few points on this.
Yeah.
Yes, even
Go
I
ahead.
was there, Khushi, in group one.
Okay, whatever. There's no problem. I could see the displays for room number one is this one. No problem. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Right. So the topic was basically what you understand by training methods. And we all discussed the several methods that we have learned even in the previous semesters, and plus what we learned today. So we started by understanding lectures, and we talked about group discussions, role plays, demonstrations, case study, and lastly, e-learning. That these are the most common methods that we use to make sure that the training goes well, and because each method serves a different purpose. For example, lecture is majorly going to be about just providing the knowledge in a more theoretical ways, but group discussion helps more in problem solving. Role play also helps us in providing different perspectives to the same situation that we are discussing. Demonstrations are there, then case studies to help us understand a more practical perspective to that problem. And lastly, e-learning, which cannot be utilized in an offline method, but can definitely help us reinforce the learning later on after we are done with the offline training. So maybe like providing reference materials or something similar.
Wonderful, wonderful. Congratulations. Well done, well done, well done. Okay. So next group can go. Which group would go at Barun's group? Barun's group, you ready? Barun, Chandra. No specific order. I'm just announcing so that everyone gets an opportunity. That's basically the whole idea.
We have discussed in detail, and I think Rasya will elaborate.
Okay, Rasya, go ahead.
Sure. So room 2, our question was, who are your clients? How could you identify your clients' needs? So here we discussed first who are the clients. We call them the stakeholder, which is divided into two parts, which is one is the organization or the department head who's hiring the external trainer, which is us. What is the desired outcome that they have in mind, and the second stakeholder would be the actual participant group who will be benefiting from the training session or the facilitative session. Within that, we want to find out, like you said earlier, the demographics, so the age group, their gender, the education, their experience, where they are geographically, where they are from, and also aspects of where the training is going to be conducted. And then we also want to talk about how could we identify the client's needs. So one is, of course, the desired outcome that the organization is giving us, but it's also going back to the participants and trying to look at their existing skills, and then what is the skill benchmark which is required, doing the gap analysis accordingly. So these are the things that we discussed, really.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well done, well done, well done. Okay, so group 3. Group 3 is Gauri, Jagannath, Sandeep.
Annalisa, sir. My name was, I think, 913.
91790. It's a nice name.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for that.
That's okay, that's okay. Enjoy life. No worries.
So our question was, sir, how can we identify the training goals and objective? and we have discussed, all 5 of us. And so basically, for identifying the training goal and objective, we need to do the TNI, and we have to understand the participant and the requirement of the organization. And based on the TNI, we can do a competency mapping, and also we can do a skill matrix. So for this particular, we can understand what is the organization is the requirement for the, what is the competencies they are looking for in the participant, and what is the existing competency the participant is having. So based on that, we can do a gap analysis also, and so we can understand the objective, what will be the training objective.
Wonderful. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so next group,
Yes, sir.
Amarjit's group, is it? Amarjit,
Yeah.
Kamlesh, Monica, Mallesh, Sandeep, and Sunil.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
So we had to find out like how to determine the characteristics of learner cohort. So characteristics can be based on several factors, which can be, let's say, it can be based on the gender or language, some age group, experience, maybe the designation, the departments the learners are working in. And this can be determined with the help of either through the help of looking at the skill matrix as well as the background data that the people have been working in. And then some input can be taken from the reporting managers. Or if we want to conduct a very fresh, then a questionnaire or an interview can be organized to find out the learner cohorts characteristics.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Well done. Thank you so much. And we have the last group now. Last will be the most powerful one normally. Esther, Vinita. Yes.
Hello, everyone. So I'm sorry, I'll have a little bit of background noise. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Oh, sure. Feel comfortable. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So our question was, how do we design this learning program based on the contextualized learning process, as in contextualized learning program? So we have come up with solutions that learning contextualized learning program is something which is learner specific, as in based on it's just like a customized training program, which is much more effective, as in if the people are streamlined into some some specific skill, like a specific domain, as in if it's a software company, so all my modules will be based on some of their software part as well. So I would design the learning program in a way that it is streamlining with what they are doing. If it's a school, based on their academics as well. So it's completely learner specific type of an approach is what we have come across.
Wow, wonderful. Well done. Okay. Congratulations. Well done. So now, yes, we'll wrap it up because we're already time up and you're about to go into the next session. Thank you so much. God bless you all. And do well and take care. So we'll log off. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.